Everyone, welcome into Nebraska Shootaround, where we talk Nebraska men's and women's basketball. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here. Anna is had plane trouble or something when we were not trouble, but delayed flights and stuff. So she's not with us this week. So we'll just handle it all ourselves.
Yeah, we both watch a lot of basketball. I think we'll be able to handle it.
I think that's fair.
Speaking of watching a lot of basketball, that's certainly what you did on Monday.
Yeah.
You're down in Lincoln all day, starting with the women's game and then the men's season opener follow that. But start with the women. They took on Omaha, and 88-48 was the final there. It's a noon game. They had a lot of kids there. One of those kind of
was the
community games.
Life skills pep rally thing, kids day. There was over 8,100 fans there, or that were, I guess, bought tickets.
Second most for a season opener.
Second most for a season opener in the arena history for Nebraska women's basketball. And it was a loud crowd. Even late in the game, when Omaha was at the free throw line, it got loud, as to be expected, I guess. If
kids
you
having fun.
Yeah, they were having a great time. So the line for the Colby Ridge popcorn was down into, like, it's on the open side of the PBA. It was into like the concourse. It was on both sides. It was ridiculous. But anyway, to the basketball, Alexis Markowski, her 41st double-double. She just gets that out of the way.
Yes, came in tied with Jordan Hooper and Kelsey Griffin, two Nebraska Hall of Famers. And like you said, wasted no time. Only played 21 minutes, and that's all she needed. 14 and 11.
And getting that, I don't even think she probably knew, but it wasn't.
I asked her about it, so I know she knew.
But it was. I don't think it was a huge deal, right?
She wasn't tracking it or anything.
And getting that over with, right? But it certainly helps.
And I think she talked about this too. But for a Lincoln girl growing up watching this program too,
she watched those two growing up. Kelsey, they were like her idols, and now she breaks the record. She almost got emotional because she likes to get emotional. She almost got emotional after the game, and she kind of held it back. But it was great to see it, and she will be, I believe Alexis Markowski will be
there'll be a lot more
Nebraska Hall of Famer as well. So when the time comes, so she's had a tremendous impact on the program, and obviously a 3-time All Big Ten selection doesn't hurt either.
So you look at it. One thing that Amy Williams likes to do is she likes to play a lot of players, and she did that in this one. At 11, I believe, in the first quarter alone, and then Kendall Coley was the 12th player who got in there. Only played 8 minutes, but everybody else played double-digit minutes. 11 of the 12 scored. All three freshmen, a healthy freshman. Kennedy Williams is obviously redshirting this year, not suiting up, but the other three freshmen all got in the game, and we know Britt Prince started.
She was fantastic.
And so thing I've noticed so far in the
first plus
action,
40, plus minus and 40.
Yeah,
that's like unheard of. It's really hard to do
in a 40-point win.
Right. Like it tells you.
But I think one thing I've noticed, like from her so far, she's really trying hard to be the distributor, play point guard. Yeah, she at no point has she really asserted herself outside of it's time for me to score. Obvious situations.
Like she did in high school. She was the scorer. I got to go get it. Oh, she's kind of really like being the point guard, which is different to see from her.
But that's the thing. Her game is still malleable.
Yeah.
She doesn't really have an area of her game that like, oh, she can't do this. So it's just a matter of, she can do a lot of things really well. What do you need her to do for the team? And she, so far, feels like she needs to be a little bit more of a distributor. Pretty good assist turnover ratio so far in these two games that we see in the exhibition. And this one
turnover, 5 assists, 2 steals. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you'll take that all day from your starting combo guard, I guess, because Callan Hake is also in the starting lineup along with Potts and Markowski and who am I forgetting?
Widener.
Allison Widener being back. So that's kind of the first thing we've seen in both games so far. That's
the lineup. That looks to be the starting lineup,
and that allows you to bring
Moriarty,
Logan Nisley off the bench as a kind of more of a scoring threat. And you got Moriarty defender.
They play. I mean, Amy is traditionally just played everybody like 10 deep, and that's just what they do. That's just what she does. 10, 12, 10, 11, whatever deep. That's just what what she's going to do and who she is, and everybody's going to play.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe you might not start, but you're still going to get significant minutes.
Yeah. We mentioned Britt, 10 points and 5 assists. Petra Bojan, the Croatian freshman, 12 points, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 2 from 3, 4 rebounds in just 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It seems like
impressive.
It's going to kind of be that rotation where with Petrie and Bojan will both get a chance to play those backup minutes, maybe play a little bit with Markowski, and then whoever seems to be clicking that game is probably going to get a little bit more.
Amy Williams said after the game that Petra, she's finding her way defensively still and got some stuff, but her skill set is pretty good. I mean, step out and hit threes, and she's tall, 6'3". I mean, so big, and as she develops, which I feel pretty good about her developing, she'll be a nice piece, really nice piece for them, and developing behind Alexis now is pretty good for a year, right?
For both Petrie and for Bojan to get to practice against her, learn from her every single day in practice. Yeah. That's a really nice setup for those two coming over here from overseas and adjusting to American college basketball, and got a pretty good mentor there. And
all right.
Maya Hargrove is the other freshman. She was one of the first subs off the bench. You can kind of see that it's an adjustment to even low-level Division I from where she was in high school. She played really small school in high school, and it's going to be elite for her, but you can see some of the athletic traits.
Yeah, she's fine. She'll be fine.
Kind of a wing forward.
The one thing about that game against Omaha wants to play super fast. They don't have a lot of size, so they just want to play super fast, and they were very physical. I mean, they were very physical. In the first quarter, there was 11, I think, total turnovers and 10 total fouls. I mean, that's a lot, right? For both teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the one thing coming out of this that you point at, like, you got to clean that up. 20 turnovers, but they forced 24, 14 of which were steals. So you could see the aggressive.
A lot of those steals were very just like in front of you. I'm just taking it.
Yeah.
And
that's not a sustainable method. But so overall, a lot of good things to take away. I think Natalie Potts and Logan Nisley, the sophomores, combined for 26 points on 9 of 11 shooting, 6 of 6 from the line. Those two were pretty impressive as freshmen, and for Nebraska to accomplish their goals, they're going to need a big sophomore season for them, and they both look pretty good.
And Allison Widener, I guess, before we get out of here and move on, Allison was great. She had 11, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. I saw her mom before the game, and they were nervous. Because it's been.
Obviously, got the exhibition out of the way, but that's still
it's different.
This is a real this counts now.
They were nervous, and I mean, it's been 55 games since she has seen the floor, and she's great. So
11 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3. Had the transition and one where like that's what she brings to this team, just the athleticism,
and
the
she
open
just
floor.
Plays really hard all the time. So she's been that way her whole life, just playing hard. So it's pretty neat to see her back out there.
Yeah, her and Prince playing off each other in that backcourt. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for fans to watch this season.
Yeah, it will be.
Yep. And season continues when they host Southeastern Louisiana on Saturday at 1:00.
It was another team that kind of wants to play a little fast, and they'll play a lot of players. They got I was talking to Jeff Grish, their communications guy, does the radio too, and he said that Southeast Louisiana might be the third best team they play in the non-con. So
a little bit more of a test.
Yeah, a little bit more of a test than people maybe think.
Yep. So I got to clean things up, but they got this week in practice to focus on that. So that's the advantage of starting early, about as early as anybody. 12:00 start on the first day. Right. So now they get this week in practice, and then they'll lace them back up on Saturday. Also on Monday, we're the men starting off this season,
transitioning to Nebraska men's basketball.
Yeah. 87-67 win over UTRGV. That final score doesn't quite tell the story of how this game played out.
No, not at all. They won by 20. That's the box score.
They won by 20 because they closed the game on an 18-2 run.
In the final was 4
5 minutes. 4.5. 5 minutes.
So that's why. I mean, and it was a 12-2 run from 434 to 206. So it kind of popped, right?
And it was Connor Seagen, the one that sparked that.
He had 8 straight.
It was a 4-point game, and you're starting to feel a little antsy about it.
434 is a 4-point game.
Then they run in action. He bangs a 3.
Yes.
Next time down, run in action with him again. He gets held, hits the free throw, and then gets a layup on the next time down.
Yeah. And he got the rebound in like the defensive rebound, which was a little bit of a struggle at times for them too. So that little spurtability of him, I'd like to see that more.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 he hit, he came off a hard ball screen and just bang, it was a handoff. Shoot it. Right. That's what you do. Do that more with him, right? Find ways, use him kind of like Casey. He's not as Casey getting a shot off is much quicker and all that stuff. And it kind of runs around a little bit more. But I think they're still just finding their way with all these new faces.
And so that kind of leads me into my question I had. We saw them roll with the big starting lineup again. The one we saw in the inter squad scrimmage where you put the 5 with Worcester, with Bryce at the 2, Juwan Gary at the 3, and then Berkay and Braxton together. Yeah. And then we saw them go smaller with the Seagen in for Berkay in the exhibition. Because they had it. Well, in the round chasing smaller team, like it doesn't 6'7" 2 guard trying to face it's
gonna work.
Division II team, whatever. But do you think this is what they're going to stick with? Do you think do they need more shooting in that starting lineup?
Well, I think they need against RGV, and they did it in the middle of the second half, you could say. They went with the quote small lineup with Berkay, Books, and Gel at the 5, and then Seagen was in, and Griffiths was in, and Worcester was in. Like, so that I feel like Berkay is going to end up being the 5, or Morgan. I think they're going to end up being the 5.
And if Berkay is going to be the 4, you need him to be more of a shooter than he has been thus far. Like he's got to be a volume guy that can really space 4.
He didn't attempt a 3 last night.
Because with that starting lineup, their best shooter is Bryce Williams, who is the guy that you want to space a 4-4. Like if your best 4 spacer is also your best scorer, then he's not helping himself by being able to space a 4. Right. You need to make room for him. And he scored 27.
He got to the line, first 10, 11 from the game, right? Like they need a guy. They need a guy to be that kind of who is going to be the alpha, the Casey, the rink guy, and all that. And that's Bryce.
Yeah,
it is. It's 100% Bryce. Hoiberg said that after the game. It's got to be him. Just it was pretty concerning. Like one. Just their defensively was really concerning. They were late on closeouts. Sometimes they didn't even have a closeout.
And we knew Rio Grande Valley. They're getting shot 3s. Yeah, that's what Hoiberg.
They had 25 of them in their exhibition game, and Coach Hoiberg mentioned that before, to us, for the media in before the game. Yeah. So he was telling his team that. You knew this is what they were going to do.
For their first 5 shots were 3s, and they kept up that pace basically the whole game. Took 41 of them.
They're 13 of 41.
So Nebraska was minus 21 from the 3-point line, but they offset that because they were plus 19 at the foul line, and they forced 20-point turnovers for 26 points.
And they had 22 more points in the paint, which is to be expected of a team shooting 3s. But Nebraska's focus was, we're going to get it inside, I mean, they went kind of, you don't see it anymore. But I mean, Raleigh multiple times caught the ball on the block and just dribble, back this guy down.
And he brings that element.
Yeah, he's not physical.
He is a true point guard in a sense that he's a setup guy. He's a calm everything down, handle the ball, bring it up. But he's not much of a shooter, although he did hit a nice 3 late in the clock. But he is much more that big body, uses it well, tries to get in the paint and then make plays out of there.
He had 18 in second
9 boards, 4 steals, 3 assists.
Raleigh will be the fan favorite guy by middle of January.
Especially considering what they went through last season where they didn't have a point guard in the entire roster.
Right. So he will be the guy that all fans like. Now, there is again, I go back to like, yes, they won by 20, but there's some glaring stuff, like some things that you look at offensively and defensively. They didn't offensively. There were guys like there was one point late in the second half, and I remember I saw Bryce just like kind of throw his hands up and like, where are you going? What are you doing? Like, you're not supposed to be over here, So all these new faces, getting used to it. I'm sure film breakdown they'll look that up. But I mean, there was a time where Mia, he's 7-2, right? And guy catches it and they're playing, skip it around. And a guy catches it on the wing and he's the closest defender. And the guy, you could see the 3 ball coming and Mia didn't even raise one hand, like even a feint, attempt to close out or block the shot. Nothing. That can't happen, right? Like that just can't happen.
Especially with their defense and what they're trying to do in terms of scrambling around, chasing you off the line, that type of thing. Offensively, you mentioned just kind of guys being in the wrong spot. 11 assists on 28 field goals and 13 turnovers.
I agree.
Neither of those ratios is what Hoiberg wants to see within his system, and that's not the way it's set up to play.
This is now we have 3 examples of a couple of things.
Not shooting great.
Not shooting it great, especially from 3, and turning it over more than you assist.
Yeah.
This is 3 examples of that. So now it's a thing, right? It's not just a one game thing. It's a thing. So the 3 examples are the open scrimmage at Devaney, which they said, oh, it's a new gym. People talked about it's a new gym. It's a different gym. They haven't practiced in it and, shots and all that stuff. That was the reason for the shooting there. And then when they're back in PBA in the exhibition, it was the new, faces. And then now this is the 3rd time where both things have happened. Yeah. It's now a thing. It can't not be a thing. Yeah. Like you at some point though, I will tell you, like they've got to be able to, they'll find a way to shoot the ball. They will eventually find a way to make those shots. Yes. I just don't know when.
Yeah. So far they have guys that can shoot. Each game so far that we've seen, it's basically been one guy getting hot. This one, the Sejan went 3 for 4. Griffiths previously in the exhibition knocked down 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, 3.
And so he didn't make one in this game. Like they are relying on a few key guys. Bryce 1 for 6 from 3 in this one. So like you're going to need those 3 in particular to carry the 3-point shooting load, and then can Bearcat chip something in there?
In this RVG game, though, the game plan was to get the ball in the paint. It wasn't to shoot the 3.
And they only took 6 of 19.
Yeah, It was clearly to get the ball in the paint. Take more 2s. At one point, though, they were kind of trading 3s for 2s, and that doesn't work that well. Math doesn't add up if you do that. But it was good. And Andrew Morgan,
seeing
him play. And
10 points,
his
5
rebounds. His 3 makes were hard, like, I'm old school, just like give me the ball on the block and I'm gonna dribble 7 times. I'm gonna go over a shoulder or whatever. Like that was like, you don't see that hardly ever. And that's exactly what I did because of the mismatch. Yeah. So
and so that's the thing, like how the question with him, he's a good player. You showed that in the Summit League.
Yeah.
How does that translate once you're playing high level competition? And this obviously isn't going to show you that, but at least in terms of the role he fits into what they need at that spot.
And there was a couple of times where like he missed a boxing out or rebound and stuff like that, which he should have against a team like RGV should have gotten. There's some stuff that
first game back after concussion.
Yeah, like he couldn't practice for a week or whatever. I mean, there was all this stuff, so he'll be fine.
Yeah. So moving forward, they also tip off on Saturday, late one, 7:00 against Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, the Fighting Reggie Theus team.
It's fighting Pat Eberhardt.
Pat Eberhardt, yes. Called me yesterday, actually.
Nice. Shout out, Pat. Former Omaha assistant there. Good guy.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think I just hammered them. Probably good enough.
All right. We will be back next week with Nebraska Shootaround.